broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome back to another edition of Red Sox Wrap 360. Here I am alongside Bobby DeMuro. I'm Mike Conley. Bobby, how we doing, brother?
You throwing a fist bump out of me?
A fist bump. I mean, it's a winning week for the Red Sox. I think fist bumps all around.
It was almost a 5-1 week, right?
It was almost 5-2 week,
You
which
were
I
5-2,
predicted.
you're right. 5-2. You were 2-3 outs away from 5-2, and so close, and then
It was an absolute circus out there today. I mean, what an odd game. An odd game.
yeah, Franklin Morales. So Franklin Morales, we both know him very well.
Always comes back
the
to the
Royals
Rocks.
do too. And it seems like every stop he makes, he does something goofy every week. Talk about unrealized potential. I don't want to be too critical of him because he's a good reliever for the Royals. But he was in the middle of the game today. He made a terrible error on that ball on the bunt or whatever, the swinging bunt that hit the wet grass, and he throws it away.
I mean,
I'm just like, every time Franklin Morales gets in a game, something goofy happens. Right?
Give
Don't
the
we
guy-
both have that relationship with him? He wasn't the center of the ninth inning thing, but don't we both have that relationship with him?
yeah, that's true. I mean, I have mostly fond memories of Franklin Morales, basically because he was part of that 013 championship team, which I have very many fond memories of.
Yeah.
And fond memories which I have to go back to very often during this season, which isn't producing many fond memories. But, while we stay on the topic of... former Rockies not doing well. Your boy Rutledge today, man.
Oh, God.
Unbelievable. Like, nice grounder up the middle. Going to be a double play to get him out of there. Wickets. Right through him.
Can we rewind and go back
Yeah.
to a clip from about 3-4 weeks ago? What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
That he's garbage.
No, but specifically, what did I tell you?
All stick, no glove.
And not even any stick. And absolutely no glove.
Well, I mean, he did hit a home run this week for,
Yeah, I know,
for
but-
his first one in a Red Sox uniform.
That's wonderful. And
You
this
know?
year with the Red Sox, he's now 9 for 34. And that's good. That's up. He's hitting 265. That's much better than he had been hitting.
Boom. And he actually laid down a sack bunt today.
Yeah, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
it should have let it hit him, but sure.
Yeah.
That was a sack bunt.
Yeah.
Was that in the Morales? No, that was a couple innings before Morales, I think. Yeah.
But
Yeah, that was a weird game.
that was a weird game. No, I think that was in the Morales inning.
For the Royals, you know what, though? A playoff team, I mean, more than a playoff team, the best team in the AL right now. You needed to salvage a game, and you finally salvaged a game, right? If you're a Royals fan, you see this very, very differently than the Red Sox do.
Well, I mean, they salvaged the split.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the Sox, I mean, we'll give them yesterday's game, but today's game, I mean, should have had it. I mean, Janichi in the ninth, he's just,
These are the kind of games, though, when you're a team that is, what are the Sox right now? 50 what? And
They were going for their 57th win
so
today,
they're
but they
56
did
and
not.
65, 66, 68 now?
I believe,
okay,
yes.
so when you're 12, 13, 14 under, this is why. Right? You're not losing a lot of games like 1-0 where it's two guys throwing complete games. You're losing games on stupid stuff, and you look back and say, oh, we should have won these 8 games over 162 games. And if we won these 8 games, we'd have been 81-81. And it's like, well, sure, every team can say that. But the fact is you didn't, and you didn't because you don't have that next step. You don't have that next level. You're a bad team. You're not the worst, but you're not a good team.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm
for
sorry
reiterating.
for
No, it's
spouting
cool.
facts.
It's cool. It's cool. But I mean, it was an absolute circus. And that play in the ninth, dude. You were probably watching Rockies game, so I'll recap it for you. Basically, okay, Royals are down 2, and Infante's leading off the inning. He hits a fly ball that looks like it might be a wall scraper. Jackie Bradley goes back on it. He's like spinning around. It ends up not hitting the wall, bouncing on the warning track, jacking up, bouncing off the top of the scoreboard. Meanwhile, Infante's circling the bases. They're down 2, mind you, and he goes for it. He goes for the open around the in the park home run. Jackie hoses him at the plate.
So what you're saying was Jackie was just waiting to make a great throw.
I think
because
so.
what I see is this defensive specialist you've talked up for weeks now after I just crap all over him, making a really bad defensive play when they needed him the most in the 9th inning. And then saving himself against all odds.
He did save himself, but he shouldn't have been running Infante.
No,
but yeah,
absolutely not.
one blemish. I mean, the guy's on the web gems every night. I mean, I think I called him the best outfielder there's ever been, and I'm going to stick by that.
Better than Juan Lagares for the Mets right now.
I think so. I think he's better than Juan Lagares. Juan Lagares is a close too, but he's not the best of all time.
Oh my Lord!
I'm best defensive outfielder of all time, Jackie Bradley Jr. Now, if we could just get him to hit 270, have a decent on base percentage next year.
We can talk about that in a minute because we'll talk about that.
I'm excited.
But no, I mean I know it's one thing, but obviously this is the problem. This is those one thing traps that you fall into. Well, it's one thing. Sure, it's only one play. He makes a lot of good ones. But this is in the 9th inning when you're leading against a good team and you would love to win a game and win a series, and you don't do it. This is why you're 14 under.
No question. I mean, 12 under, but maybe 14 back. But I don't look at the standings until we reach 500.
Is it 56 and 68? Okay, yeah.
56 and 68, I believe, yes. Yes, fantastic. But, it's all a learning experience.
Yeah.
This is just elongated preseason for next year, and we're seeing what happens. This is all learning curves. You see what happens when your defense behind you boots a game-ending double play, and you try and come back for that if you're a young pitcher like Eduardo Rodriguez. But the thing that I love about Rodriguez, he doesn't walk anybody. Mm-hmm. That is huge. So he's been up and down. Funny stat coming into today's game, and these splits, it's such a small sample size, it really doesn't mean anything, but coming into the game, okay, in night games he had a 1.67 ERA, in day games 10.67. Is that ludicrous or what?
Well, here's the thing. And I'm trying to think about where, because the Red Sox play in Pawtucket in AAA, and Rodriguez came up with the Orioles, and they would have played in Norfolk in AAA, wherever they're at there in the International League. Mm-hmm. In the Pacific Coast League, in all these hot weather cities in Vegas and Albuquerque and all these hot weather cities in the summers, those guys don't play day games. Can't play a game at 1 p.m. in Vegas.
Right.
They rarely do it. They're playing all kinds of night games there. So those guys get accustomed to playing only at night. Rodriguez shouldn't be the same way. Yeah. Not in the International League.
Right.
There's not that much of a split. So that's a weird thing. It could just be this is another thing, and this is why you take this next 5-6 weeks. It's an extended spring training almost. Yeah. You get these guys accustomed to a big league schedule. And so Rodriguez shows up 2 hours before a 7:05 game. That's cool. 2 hours before a 12:35 game. He's not used to waking up at 9 to get to the ballpark at 10:30 or whatever his schedule is. But that's the things you learn now. And then he'll find, I believe, that the day games he's going to be pitching in the rest of his career every 5th day occasionally, you want to pitch in those as a pitcher because the hitters don't show up.
Right.
Pitchers love throwing in day games a lot. Look at how many getaway day games end 2-1, 1-0 because bats don't show up on that 3rd day.
That batter's eye is nice and shiny. I can remember a day when I was going to ball games as a wee lad that they didn't even have the batter's eye in Fenway blacked out. They had people out there.
It's just
drunk people.
At that point, it's almost dangerous, though. You want these guys to see the ball just for safety reasons. Look at how close guys get to getting hit all the time in the head and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's only a matter of time till somebody gets injured significantly. People getting concussions and stuff anyways. And I know it's rare, but you at least want them to see the ball.
Yeah. And there's been talk lately with who was the pitcher that just got hit on a comebacker?
It was the Yankees pitcher, right? Was it him? Because there's been a few. John Neese got hit the other day.
Okay.
But it was the Yankees pitcher who got hit in the head, and I can't remember his name. It happened like 3 or 4 days ago.
Now there's talk of them wearing helmets on the mound.
Well, I like those hats that have the padding. They're making it smaller and smaller. Not the big one that Alex Torres, the reliever for I think still the Mets, is wearing. Yeah. But they're making them smaller and smaller, like Kevlar or whatever. The issue is it doesn't protect some of the most sensitive zones, which is like behind your ear.
Right.
But what are you going to do? You can't put an L screen out there.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
What's
Please don't put an L screen out there. That would be horrible.
What is the alternative? You know, what would you do?
I wish I could say this hat had padding in it, but this is just my huge Irish head that's filling this. Yeah,
You know
I
what
mean,
they need? They need more pitchers with Noah Syndergaard long kind of hair. Because the longer, you know, the Jacob deGrom, all those guys with the really long hair, because if the hair can stop the ball. Okay,
you might be onto something. You know, you'd think there was something equitable, like the longer the hair, the faster you can pitch, but I can't crack 42 miles an hour.
The better the flow, the more zeros.
You know, you'd think work for the Eck. That's why I have long hair, by the way.
Is it because of Dennis Eckersley?
He's the first guy, so I remember seeing him in a Red Sox game, and I'm like, wow, that guy's cool because he had long hair.
I'm not sure if that's horrifying or kind of cool.
Well, you know, I mean, the guy's the man. Eck's the man. But you know, I was like a wiffle kid for my entire life. So then, you know, once I became an adult and my parents didn't cut my hair, I grew it out. It's for you, Eck. I love the guy. But, all right, let's get to the big news of the week.
Yes.
And that is there's a new sheriff in town, Mr. Dave Dombrowski. And you like this move?
100% on board, 100%.
Okay.
I think of the people who were available, let me put it this way, of the people we knew publicly who were available, because there's always stuff going on behind the scenes, the Red Sox traded for a goddamn manager earlier, you know, that's how they got John Farrell. So you never know how stuff happens. But of the publicly available people, I think he's by far the best, unless I am embarrassing myself by forgetting somebody huge. But the people who are on the market right now, why would you not go get Dombrowski?
Yeah.
The track record he's got, the people he's developed. I was thinking about this. It's not just Detroit where he put together a good team, but that's important. And he knows the AL, which is important. He also helped draft a very good team in Miami, in Florida, with the Marlins in the 90s, early 2000s. Look at that 2003 Marlins club that won the World Series. That was an amazing team. He wasn't there in 03. He left in 01, I believe. But he put a lot of those guys in there, Miguel Cabrera included.
Did he compile the 97 team that won it?
He was there, I believe he was there from 94 to 01.
Okay.
So, yes.
So he's got a World
or had
Series
enough
under his
of a
belt.
hand in it. So, I think with this guy, he was with the Expos in the late 80s, and the Expos had a great farm system for years and years and could never sign guys long term. And Pedro Martinez, Larry Walker, all these dudes left. I really, really like it. I also like that he knows the AL. He's been in the AL for 15 years now. Knows you can't find a guy who knows the AL any better.
Yeah.
And I really, really like that they did it now instead of October 1st, because this 6 weeks he's going to do nothing in this 6 weeks, but he's actually going to do everything because he gets to learn the team. The Jackie Bradley Juniors, the Travis Shaws, all those guys he gets to see and say, hey, I'm going to see you for 6 weeks. Do I want you part of the team next year? Do I want to give you a shot? Do I trade you in the winter? What exactly do we have? To go back to the Rockies, they got a new GM last year, but they picked him up in November. This matters here. They picked him up in November. When you do this in November, he was an insider from the team, but by the time he took the reins over in November, there's only so much you can do trying to get up to speed as GM, which is a very different position than anything else in the front office. Right. The Red Sox do this early, so come winter meetings time in November, December, Dave Dombrowski's been in for 3-4 months, and he's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I feel comfortable. I have a lead for my owners. I know what's expected of me. Let's make moves.
Well, hopefully it works a little better than the Rockies because I believe they're in last place.
But that's my point.
One of the only teams.
When you bring in a GM and you try to have your GM go and say November, go, make moves, do it. Rockies didn't make a ton of moves this winter. A, they're kind of limited payroll-wise. B, it's because the new GM was too damn new. Yeah. You promote a guy, but he's so new, you don't know what you're doing. With Dombrowski, you give him 6 weeks just to evaluate, and then this winter he says, okay, I have my feet under me, let's go.
You mentioned a couple guys that are putting together a heck of an audition tape for Mr. Dombrowski right now. Mr. Travis Shaw and JBJ. I mean, they are just raking it right now. He had another couple hits today for Shaw had one hit, and Bradley had a couple more. Three hit day today for Jackie Bradley. Kid's sick. Kid is sick. But the thing with Dombrowski is he's kind of like a eye test guy. He's not more of the analytics.
I watched him. Did you see the interview he did with Remy and Orsillo?
Yes.
What was it? Tuesday's game or whatever. It was one of the games.
Wednesday night.
And I watched him sit there for 2 innings where he gave a great interview. And he kind of said that, and he was talking about the eye test, which, yeah, I'm a little leery of. I want facts. But there's a couple things to remember here. First off, he acknowledged it. He was like, we try to get as much information as we can. If we do the numbers and we get the information, we'll absolutely use it. So, okay, prove it to me, but okay. But the second and more important one is every one of these teams now is coming up with proprietary measurement systems. Every one of these teams has a system for measuring players beyond the stuff that we have, beyond batting average and on-base percentage, beyond wins above replacement and FIP and all that sort of stuff. They've got their own measuring systems, and they've got their own tracking systems, tracking pitches, tracking balls put in play, whatever. So it could be possible that all these guys want to stay close to the vest and not give away what they know and how they know it.
Right.
Right. Well, we're going to measure JBJ by our proprietary system, which looks, you're not going to say that.
Yeah.
So, and a team with the Red Sox who's had so much success lately, and considering their history wanting Billy Beane so badly when he did Moneyball in Oakland, great movie, just watched it, by the way.
Right.
Watched it again.
I was going to say.
But when they wanted a guy like Billy Beane so badly, years ago, after he did Moneyball so well, that history tells me the Red Sox have been developing their own system anyways. They've been working with Bill James anyways, they have in the past.
This is true.
So I think they've got something, like every team does, and they don't want to say, well, we're going to evaluate it with this system. Well, no, you can say eye test, because eye test means something different to everybody.
Yeah.
Baseball body, well, I like the way he runs, whatever it is. You can talk about that all day. It doesn't matter. They've got their system.
Right. Maybe Dave Dombrowski will come on our show and talk about it then, because
I doubt it.
It won't get out of the bag to many people.
First, I was like, where are you going with that? Oh, got it.
There it is. But, yeah, so obviously Charrington steps down, too much of a kind of a slap in the face for him, and he's going to go somewhere and get a job, and, I'll wish him well. He'll finally get out from under this ownership, and maybe somebody will let him kind of do his own thing, kind of like Theo's doing in Chicago. But one thing where Dombrowski was probably looking around at the opportunities in the league and just licking his chops. He's like, I can go to this team that's in last place and has this farm system. Boom. Yeah. And he's traded Jack, dude. He's going to be like, see, look at the farm system now, because at this time next season, it's going to be severely depleted.
Look at they're not as in bad shape as the Tigers were in when he came on in 01, and then I believe 03 was the Tigers' awful year. Wasn't 03 the year they lost 119, I want to say? It was somewhere in there. I believe it was 03, which coincidentally was the Marlins' second World Series. But it's not obviously in bad a shape as that, but look at how he flipped them around. So if that's maybe something to do next week on the show, now that you mention it, is take a quick look at the Tigers in 2003, 2004, 2005. What did they do from being bad to being good? How did they acquire guys like Cabrera, Victor Martinez? What did they look for? How much money were they paying relative to today, because contracts are bigger? Right. But that might be a blueprint for what Dave Dombrowski's going to do.
Yeah. Well, it seems like once he got Cabrera, people just wanted to go there after that,
And David Price for a while, all those guys,
Maybe he'll be able to reacquire David Price for the,
It's not a bad idea.
For the second time.
Would you reacquire Cabrera and let David Ortiz give him his walking papers? Just kidding.
Wow. You have to mention that every single time. This guy is ageless. He's raking right now, If everybody else didn't take off the first 2 months of the season, it was only Poppy. We might be in better shape now. But he's raking, man. There's no doubt about that.
How much do you regret, though? Speaking of that whole first base DH situation, seeing him now, how much do you regret not bringing Travis Shaw up earlier and getting rid of Napoli 2 months ago? I know his value was nothing 2 months ago, but the Red Sox didn't get anything for him now. So you would have, if 2 months ago you would have traded him for the same thing, nothing.
Yeah. It's kind of tough to predict what Travis Shaw's doing. He's hitting better up here than he was in Pawtucket, But that's. Let a younger guy try. Yeah.
Mike Napoli's not going to find a new stroke, and he can get hot, but he's not going to suddenly turn around his approach at the plate.
Yeah.
There's a vet. You know what you're getting with a veteran like this. I think he cut ties. We're talking about spilled milk here.
Yeah.
But
he went deep today, by the way.
Well,
he went deep.
The Rangers are in the hunt, man.
They are. They are a scary team.
They're not as scary as the Astros, which we'll talk about on the Dodgers show in about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
but the Rangers are in the hunt. Absolutely.
They are.
Yeah.
And and John Daniels, he was like smiling at the deadline where everybody's talking about, he's getting Cole Hamels for next year and all this stuff. He's just like, keep talking about that. Keep talking about that. Keep the eyes off us, because guess what? Cole Hamels is still going to be on the team this year, and he's dealing, and they get Holland back now.
Yeah, they do get Holland back, and Daniels is getting the benefit of a struggling Oakland team that wasn't supposed to be this bad and had some injuries themselves. Sean Doolittle's been out forever. They've had some guys injured. And then a really bad Seattle team. What the hell happened there? Yeah. They were supposed to be good. I thought they might have been a legit playoff team and beyond, and nothing.
Yeah.
And then they're getting the Astros, who are good, but they haven't turned the corner all the way yet. I think the Astros will be a lot better next year too. Mm-hmm. And they're also getting the Angels, who are decent but have a lot of problems. So that division for the Rangers, everything's working out for them so far.
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
Mike Napoli's going to go to the playoffs, get a World Series ring.
Well,
probably not.
If it ain't gonna be the Sox, I'll pull for the Rangers, no problem. And but getting back on Dombrowski, so now we need a GM.
Yeah.
So I've been hearing some names like Frank Wren thrown about. Mm-hmm. Some other guys that are.
You go with
not
Jerry
really
DePoto.
Analysts.
You just stick him around.
I mean, DePoto's kind of a numbers guy, sabermetrics, so maybe it's a good little balancing act.
Is DePoto going to stay around? I haven't seen anything. Is he staying around to advise while Dombrowski is here?
I've been looking for information on that, and I haven't been able to find anything.
Because he would have been advising for about 4 days.
Right.
Would have been
just like, hey, thanks.
Great gig.
Thanks for the recommendation.
What do you think he bills for 4 days of work? Like 10 grand?
More than we make on this show.
And I've heard DePoto linked to the Brewers for one.
Okay.
So teams are going to look for him. I think he's going to get a GM job this winter anyways. In the meantime, or do the Red Sox offer theirs?
I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. My guess is Dombrowski will kind of bring in one of his guys.
Yeah.
But we shall see. But that'll be... I really think... Not that he's going to blow it up, but I think you'll see him go out and acquire 2 starters. You know? I think they'll go hard after a young guy that's controllable, like Sonny Gray or Tyson Ross, and that those are going to come as a pretty penny. You're going to lose like Devers, Owens, Jackie Bradley, probably in that deal. So tough price to maybe Manuel Margot.
You give up a guy like Vasquez, the catcher, even though he's injured right now.
I like Vasquez. I think, what I've seen of Swihart, I like him too. He certainly doesn't look overmatched at the plate, and he's mostly a singles hitter right now, but the last thing to come is the power all the time. But as far as, we talk about this all the time, I tend to lean towards the guy who's a better receiver, and at the catcher position. But
listen, I would take and that's what you have to do. You have to think defense first for a catcher. And I think a lot of these teams that have very strong offensive catchers or catchers that have shown strong offensive tendencies, you do yourself a disservice by promoting that a lot of times. Let's talk the Rockies, because this matters. Willeen Rosario was the catcher for them. Huge power, great offense, could not catch worth a damn. For a couple of years, the Rockies said, you know what, we're going to give him the everyday job because he's got so much power, he's such a good hitter. They quickly found out he was so bad defensively, can't work it. Cannot use him. Had to get rid of him. He lost his job. Now they can't trade him because nobody wants the DH only, essentially.
And now he can't hit.
And now he's in AAA. But if you're the Red Sox and you say, who's the best receiver, who's the best defender, if it's Blake Swihart, if he hits singles, if he can hit, let's be honest, it's a catcher in the American League. If he hits 240, be real happy with that. Let the rest of the lineup take care of that. If he can call games and work with pitchers, that's the primary thing. If he throws out runners and works with pitchers, I'm good with the guy hitting 240.
Are you talking about Vasquez?
Either one. Okay. Whichever one is your better receiver, better defender, make it
that's
on
Vasquez,
that.
yeah. But Swihart is like, that kid has the potential to hit 300 in this league.
Then I think you take that guy, unless he's by far the better defender, and say, let's dangle him because of the offense and say, hey, you want an offensive catcher? Take him off our hands.
I actually think he could go. He could go. And it's sad, but what are you going to do?
Well, you can't have 2. You can't have 2 young guys backing each other. What are you going to do?
Get rid of one. You have Vasquez catch 3 of the pitches and Swihart catch 2 of the pitches. That's it. Keep him healthy when one goes down.
Well,
or embarrassment of riches. Or you deal him, which is what's going to happen.
For some pitchers.
I guess I'm a little weary just because, he is coming off of Tommy John, and we have seen, pitches come back from that recently, and even Johnny Smoltz making the Hall. But, a catcher, I don't know. I just don't know. But okay, so Dave Dombrowski's on the fold. He's going to blow things up at the end of the year. We're in agreement on that, right?
I think so. Yeah. I'd love to see it happen. Which starters then, if you go get a Tyson Ross or you go get a Sonny Gray or maybe you go get a veteran, if James Shields were available, if somebody like that were available, people dangle those guys. But whoever you go get, who do you bump from the rotation? Have we seen the last of Wade Miley? Have we seen the last of Stephen Wright? I know your answer is no. You love Stephen Wright.
I love Stephen Wright. You got to have depth, really in this day and age, because starters go down all the time.
Yeah.
You have to come in to a season with like 8 starters.
Yeah.
That are major league ready. But I think that I love Stephen Wright. I think Wade Miley's going to stay in there. I kind of like Wade Miley. The guy's kind of getting back to himself,
what a difference
where he's giving up some
makes.
ground balls, I've always been kind of like on the Miley train. He's serviceable. For what you pay the guy, he's earning that paycheck, Rick Porcello, not so much.
But you can have a big trouble getting rid of him.
I know.
And we got to see if he's healthy.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He gave up a bomb in Pawtucket the other day.
Here's the other thing. Is Buchholz going to go down for a year now?
That's what I'm. They just won't put him in the surgery. It's crazy, but he's going to start a throwing program here soon.
That's the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
They obviously know something we don't, but knowing what we know, that's the dumbest thing.
Which is little.
Which is very little.
But. But I think that Miley's going to be there. I think that unfortunately Porcello's going to get another shot. Buchholz, I'm trying not to think about him. I think he's just going to be injured. But they're going to pick up his option anyway because it's like $12 million or $13 million, and for the market of what pitchers get out there, starters, it's like kind of a bargain, even if he's just rehabbing. Which is sad.
What do you think about going and picking up probably a free agent this winter, like a Justin Masterson?
Oh boy!
You've seen the last of Justin in
Finally,
Boston.
that chapter is over. That chapter is.
But
over.
you're going to have to go get like some mid-level free agent probably because you want to create that depth, right? If you've got, because I'm trying to think, let's work the starting rotation backwards. So Porcello, do we assume he's going to be healthy next year?
I think so.
So we say Porcello's in. Let's say Buchholz is out. I'm pessimistic on Buchholz. We say out. I think Eddie Rodriguez is in. I think Henry Owens is probably in. I think they'd probably like to try to get him in.
I think Owens could go in a deal. I think Owens
Really?
and Brian Johnson are going to be chips and deals. Or they're hanging on to, of the 3 prize lefties they got going on here, Eduardo's the one they're going to hang on to. And those other 2 guys can be had.
Well, remember, Eduardo's the guy who, the other 2 are Red Sox farm products.
True.
Eduardo's the guy they traded for. So
True.
unless you get a deal you absolutely cannot turn down, you're not going to get rid of a guy you traded for a year ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But, are they going to go after one of the big name free agents, basically Price or Cueto?
I don't see why you wouldn't in a city like Boston, or at least make a call. What do you want? What are your numbers? Here's our offer. What do you think? How far apart are we?
Right.
And then here's the thing, because we've seen this a little bit in the past, and James Shields is a good example. Guys price themselves out of the market, and the market doesn't come around like the guys thought that they would. Shields remained unsigned until, July 1st. That's an exaggeration. Shields remained unsigned until what, February 10th?
Yeah.
And finally the Padres were like, yeah, we'll take you.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take this great pitcher. But a guy who started 30-plus games for 8-9 years in a row with great numbers, and teams were like, well, we don't like the price.
Yeah.
We find cheaper stuff. We can find different stuff. So I think you have to call on guys like that because the market's not as hot as people think. Yeah. For Price and Cueto specifically, is it going to be hot? For sure. But there's a lot of guys like that we'll look at in this winter and say, damn, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll take that guy.
I'd be interested. I haven't looked at who the other guys that are going to be free agents
in
like the
Gallardo,
next tier down.
Is Giovanni Gallardo a free agent?
He is going to be a free
this
agent
winter.
Yes.
Is Kyle Loesch? He had a terrible year.
Oof.
But is Kyle Loesch? Is Matt Garza?
Wow.
I'm thinking
somebody's been reading up on his brew crew.
Well, I'm thinking about the guys the Brewers are trying to dump at the deadline. Mike Leake, is that a free agent at the end of the year? Is he with the Giants for another year?
I think he might be a free agent.
Zach Greinke's going to opt out.
Yes. So there'll be 3 huge pitches on the
And
market.
it could just be a procedural opt-out, and the Dodgers will give him a huge deal anyways. But hey, there's a chance.
He's going to opt out. And I do think that's exactly what will happen. The Dodgers will bring him back.
I think the Dodgers would be ridiculous not to. Yeah. And I think Greinke'd kind of be ridiculous. He's had great success in LA. It's a good team. Why would you not? Yeah. But there's a chance.
There's a chance. You know? Money cures all else. I mean, Nats could come up until the last second, like Scherzer last year, and just give him a boatload of cash.
And then look at guys who are on the trading block, maybe like what's his name, Jordan Zimmerman, Steven Strasburg, guys that the Nats have talked about trading. They won't trade both, but one.
I know Zimmerman was really a guy the old regime really liked. I know Charrington really liked him, and I thought they would make a run at him, but now it's a Dombrowski-led ship. I do not know. I wanted to give a quick shout-out, though, to... I forget his name. He's commenting on YouTube, the MW Geek 99.
Okay,
you know he's a faithful viewer. You know, he's been in there.
He's the one.
He's the one. He was asking the other day if what's going to happen with Yoan Moncada and if we're going to ever see him up here. And I don't think he'll be up here September 1st. No, I mean he's 19. You know, so maybe this time next year, MW Geek 99. We'll see Yoan Moncada coming up on September 1st next season. But he's doing good in Greenville. He's got a little...
Yeah, and Greenville's full season low A, so he's 3 levels away.
Yeah.
The only thing is, and I agree with you, I don't think he comes up now, but the thing you have to remember with these guys, with the Cuban guys, is different than a free agent from the Dominican Republic or a draft out of college. You're giving them a lot of money, and you're giving them a lot of money immediately.
Right.
You know, so the timetable has to be a little bit different, I think.
Yeah, I mean, where this kid's young, I think, and, you know, the Red Sox just print money. I don't think that's much of a factor.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, with some of these Cuban guys, you want to get them in there right away because they're like 40 when they come over. Like, you know,
like
Castillo was 27.
Or Hector Olivera.
He's 30, right? Olivera.
Okay, here's the thing. The Dodgers, Alex Guerrero, had that clause in his contract where after he signed, if he didn't make the big leagues his second year, at the start of the year, if he didn't make the opening day roster out of spring training, he was an unrestricted free agent. Does Moncada have any clause like that you know of?
I do not know that. I do not know that. Is Alex Guerrero Cuban?
Yes. And that was an aggressive clause. But, I mean, there are things like that because these guys have a different bargaining chip than the Dominicans and the Venezuelans do, than the college draft kids do. Yeah. So there's always something to think about with those guys. I think September 1st, next week, whatever, 8 days from now, what day is it? Yeah. 7 days from now? Yeah. That's probably fast. But next September, I think you got to be like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, you start him off in probably, high A next year. If he does well, you move him to double A. Mm-hmm. A lot of Cuban guys jump up straight from double A. Yasiel Puig did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was that good for Yasiel?
Well, for that year it was. Yeah. In 2013, it was incredible.
That's true. That's true.
He made the damn team happen in 2013. You get that from Moncada next year, and now you're going to be in business.
This is true. So let's just look back the week. This week, it was a winning week, like we said, 4-3. They took 2 out of 3 from the Tribe early in the week with old friend Tito back in town.
Cleveland, man.
They're a team that I really thought was going to be good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they have that good young starting pitch, and another guy that the Sox could go after that's a controllable young pitcher, Carlos Carrasco.
I don't know if Cleveland would give him up.
They were dangling him out there at the deadline this year.
Were they really?
I mean, maybe it's just to see what was offered, but yeah, I mean, I think they would be insane to do that because, I mean, when you're in that market, you got to hang on to those guys if you're going to compete. But hey, if he's going to be on and you're going to be in, you know, 5th place in the Central like they are this year, I think, or 4th place.
The Central's weird, though. Everybody in the Central's kind of collapsed. The Twins, man, we were talking the Twins up like 3 weeks ago, collapsed. Still in the wild card, but they're like, what, 62-62 right now?
Yeah. Which, I mean, you know, if you're 500 come September 1st, you're in the mix with the second wild card.
Talk to the Padres. Padres are a few under 500. They believe they have a shot.
It's crazy,
they're like
man.
7 out.
It is crazy. They have no shot.
They think they do.
Oh, boy.
I'm watching the Padres the other day, and Dick Enberg is literally saying to me on television, you know, we got a tough schedule coming up here. The Padres have like the Pirates, Cardinals, Cubs, Dodgers, and Giants coming up. And he goes, we got a tough schedule coming up, but, you know, if we can beat XYZ by September 10th, we got a shot. Boom. And I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm like, I suppose.
I love Dick Enberg's optimism.
I guess you do.
That's where I get it from. God love you, Dick.
Let me ask you that while we're talking about it, because we mentioned Dick. Best local broadcast team in Major League Baseball. Don't Don't say Jerry and Don. That's biased.
Hands down. Are you kidding me? So let's rephrase the question and ask me who the second best is.
Okay,
I mean,
aside from your unobjective opinion,
these guys are incredible. I mean, let me just.
they're good. No, they are good. I'm not saying they're not good, but
I mean,
branch out a little.
Who would you rather listen to? Like, especially a season like this where the team's not worth tuning in for.
One of them,
these guys are hilarious.
One of them I would rather listen to is actually Dick Enberg. Do you listen to the Padres guys?
He's got a great voice.
Him and Mark Grant and Mark Sweeney does some stuff for them, and so does Clay Hensley, the former reliever. The Padres are pretty damn good.
Really?
The Padres broadcast is real good. Vin Scully in
I'll
LA.
have to give a listen.
How do you hate
Of course,
that?
Vin. Of course.
My personal favorite should be yours too, Hawk Harrelson.
Oh, he's
in the White
awful.
Sox booth. Wait a second.
He's like nails on a chalkboard.
He's your guy. He's the whole no sabermetrics, will to win, like, put some dirt on it kind of guy.
That
Harrelson.
voice is just piercing.
You can put it on the board.
Put it on the board. It's awful. It's awful. You know what I love is like when I tune in like to a Sox game and it's like halfway through and maybe it's just out of hand already, which could have happened this year many times. And like sometimes I'll tune in and like this has happened more than once and I'll be like, oh, what are we getting, the clean feed? I don't. There's nobody talking, and all this stuff. And then you'll hear like panting, and they're laughing. They just are laughing uncontrollably, and I just love that. I mean, they're just so awesome. They're leaps and bounds better than anybody else.
I'm trying to think what the moment was today actually that I did really like. Something happened, and Ned Yost came out for the Royals and was arguing,
right.
And Jerry Remy goes, "Well, he sees it this way, but." Facts see it the other way, or something like that.
Yeah.
And Don Orsillo starts laughing.
It was that play where Panda was running the first, and he duffed it. Your boy
That's
Morales
right. It's a Morales.
it.
Yeah, you're right. It's a Morales play.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're real good. They were talking about clothing the other day. Jerry's collars kept popping up, and I didn't want to say, Jerry, you might need to get a size bigger shirt.
Did you see that shot from like 08 where Jerry had like dyed hair and dyed mustache? I forget what telecasting on. It was like Fridays or something. It was awesome.
Oh my god! Okay,
he's like they were calling him Jimmy Remy. Oh, that's when Jimmy Remy was in the booth. It was hilarious.
No, they're good, and I do like the accent. I appreciate the Jerry Remy accent.
Yeah. I mean it roots at home. He's a Fall River boy.
I like Hawk. I like Dick Enberg because the Padres guys are good. Vin Scully's a classic, but I like Hawk because he's so biased. He's more biased than the Sox guys. The Sox guys keep it tied up and professional. Hawk is so biased, so like working class south side of Chicago. Like I can just imagine guys on the south side of Chicago listening to White Sox games, coming home from the job site, like doing all the things that I'm not manly enough to do.
Right.
Like they've earned the right to listen to Hawk. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Let them have it. That's fine.
Keep it there.
I'll earn some other stuff. They can have the Hawk Harrelson. But speaking of young pitches and how this is just, well, we weren't, but that's my awesome segue. But Bonds this week, Matt Bonds, okay, he showed me something. He picked up a couple losses, but he showed me something in that Indians game. He was no hitting him for 3 1/3. Then kind of the wheels came off in the 5th.
Just to clarify, his name is Matt Barnes.
Yeah. Matt Barnes, yes.
Not
yes.
Bonds.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you're saying Barry Bonds.
Right.
Okay.
Well, all right.
For a second and a half, I was about to look through my notes and be like, did Matt Bonds come up?
But anyways.
No, look, I
At 2, Bobby? At 2?
Okay, like I guess, but I'm looking at a lot of hits, a lot of walks, 2 homers, and 2 starts.
It's true.
There's
I'm just saying, within the poor performances,
sure.
I saw some stuff. When he gave up like 2 early on his last start, Friday, I think, he settled down and kind of like, and what's his name left him in there probably a batter too much, and then he gives up that rocket shot. But, I mean. That's
the kind of stuff that Eddie Rodriguez has been learning too. When you give up runs early, how do you react to that? Yeah. Barnes is the kind of guy to start in AAA next year. Mm-hmm. And he's one of those depth pieces where he's probably not quite major league ready, right. But if catastrophe strikes and 2 or 3 guys go down, you got to go.
Yeah.
It's your time.
And if he comes up and produces in the major leagues, I mean, Rihanna's got to show him some love,
It's wrong, Matt Barnes.
Oh.
But I like that you made a pop culture reference for once in your life.
I try to, bring it around, Bobby, to so you can contribute.
I am impressed, actually.
And, you just shoot me down.
Hawk Harrelson would not appreciate your pop culture
Put it
reference.
on the board. But, anyways, the Wednesday game was nice. All the Sox runs coming via the long ball. They went back-to-back twice. Poppy and Shaw in the second, and JBJ and Hannigan in the fourth. That was awesome. And JBJ's 3-run bomb, the kid raking. But came off. All those came off AL Cy Young winner last year, Corey Kluber. And that's what's great with this team coming around hitting. They're not hitting schmoes. I mean, last week we talked about them putting a career bad game on, King Felix. They hit Kluber this week for all those bombs. And then the other night they hit Cueto.
That's true. And they did hit Cueto, but they had some weird Royals defensive plays in that Cueto game. Kluber is not Kluber. Kluber this year has been terrible. And Felix Hernandez has not been nearly as good relative to what Felix Hernandez has done. So not the,
rain on my
peeing
parade.
your Cheerios here. Jeez. But no, I mean, those
exactly
are three good pitchers. I feel yeah. I would debate with you about Jackie Bradley Jr. having a good week. But we can leave that for another time, I suppose. He did get a couple of key hits this week. One today.
And he had 3 today.
Well, I mean, one key one. He had an RBI in the triple?
Yeah.
So, but overall in the week.
No, double.
A pretty bad week.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you going to do?
Well, what you're going to do is you're going to give him 250 at-bats next year, and if you can't do it, you're going to cut him
And if he hits 270, you buy me lunch.
I will buy you lunch if he hits
good.
270.
It's all good. Yeah, I hear you, but I mean, I know he didn't have that good a week, but he has been hitting over 400 since his latest call-up, so, I mean, he'll get right back to it. And him and Shaw just raking. And Castillo's coming around now, too. He's got an 8-game hitting streak now. He had 2 more hits today. And that's good to see. And I'm glad they didn't do anything foolish like deal him at the deadline or something like that because, he's a guy that, defected from Cuba, went to Haiti and then didn't play ball for like a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah. So now we're kind of seeing that kid hit his stride, and I'm liking what I see,
How old is he now, 27?
He's 27.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. But, you got to get pitching. Got to get pitching. But, definitely impressed or I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but optimistic, I guess, with some of the performances this week. Eduardo, I know today he took the L, but he didn't take the L, but he was up and down. Still didn't walk anybody, but then he pitched 8 innings, career high, 1 earned run, another no walks early this week on Tuesday, right? In that Tribe series. But so I think that steps are moving in the right direction. I like what I'm seeing out of preseason 2016 so far, and we just got to keep getting those games to match up where we have actually good pitching performances and good hitting performances. Another thing I wanted to say about Dombrowski, which I'm a little sad about and a little fearful, is in all his time in Detroit, he's never really was able to assemble a bullpen.
That's true. And that's a fair point.
That makes me a little bit weary because we know our bullpen is horrible right now.
Well, but he also assembled some pieces that were good for either a significant chunk of time or with other clubs. Fernando Rodney has definitely had his moments, really struggling now. I'm not saying you get Fernando Rodney. My point is he assembled guys who had success.
He was DFA'd, by the way.
He was. But he had some guys who for a time had success. Fernando Rodney had a successful time in Detroit for a while.
Right.
Joaquin Benoit was pretty good in Detroit and then got very good in San Diego. Jabba Chamberlain had like a minute there where he was pretty damn good. So the bullpen to me is so many weird things happen year to year. We talked about this. Bullpens are so unpredictable year to year that if you can sort of get the right arms in the right place and then let's hope for the best, things, you know what I'm saying? Ball bounces a different way in this bullpen with the Red Sox. You don't have a closer break his forearm last week.
Yeah.
Little things like that, which aren't little, big things like that.
Yeah.
It looks a lot different. And if you get starters going 6 and 7 every night, your bullpen's going to look pretty damn good when they're not working.
Yeah. That's why I was kind of glad they didn't deal Koji at the deadline, even though he was a chip. That's for you out there, Tice 4478, who wanted Cherington to deal Koji at the deadline. But I mean, where you think you can make a couple moves here and there, maybe you can go worst to first. You know, I mean, especially if these bats come around like they are and they hit for an entire season, like they were supposed to this season, and like they are recently for the past 4 to 6 weeks. Then maybe hanging on to Koji proves to be a good thing. But Tazawa is just making me cry right now, and I really wish they would just go full-blown committee. I mean, Gene Machi comes in and pitches like 3 pitches. Let him come out for the 9th, and then you have Tazawa as a backup. This way, you're Tazawa's in, and then because he's the closer, and this is the way we have to do things. It's silly. And who was going to be the bold enough manager? And we talk about this still. We'll do
all
in the
the
face
time.
that if the high leverage situation comes in the 7th and 8th, use the guy in that. There's too much of this curtailing to guy's got to know his role. He likes to know when he gets up and starts warming up and all that. Who's going to be the manager that says, "Hey, listen, just be ready. You might be in the 7th, you might be in the 8th," and that's bold, and the agents are going to hate it. But that seems to be the evolution where it has to go.
Well, the middle step in that evolution is guys are getting 7th and 8th inning guys who are effectively closers. You're effectively trying to stack up 3 closers on top of each other.
Right.
Look what the Nationals did with Papelbon and now Drew Storen in the 8th.
Right.
That's what you're trying to do. The problem is the 7th and 8th inning guys that only last for a year or two, and then they come up to arbitration after a few years or whatever their clock has been, and they go get money somewhere else to close.
Right.
So there's that. I like Alexi Ogando. He's had a decent year.
He has. He gives up too many long balls.
He does give up a lot of long balls, but he's been like the only guy now besides Tazawa who's been in the damn bullpen all year long.
Yeah.
And at this point, for a team like this, man, you might have to give him an award for that.
He actually surpassed, I believe, Tazawa today in innings pitched out of the pen.
He did, yeah. He did. And I believe he leads, no, he's second in appearances, only walked 19 in 54 innings. Has given up 12 homers,
That's
though.
the thing.
That's the problem.
It's easy to not walk people when you're just grooving it right down the middle.
That's the Kurt Schilling.
Yeah.
Give up a lot of solo shots, don't walk anybody, but it's very different for a reliever. You'd rather not give up the long ball.
Yeah, you might be coming in with inherited runners on.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, ahead this week, they're on the road now, 6-game trip. They'll go to White Sox to see your boy, Hawk Harrelson.
Whew,
and then they got
I'm
three
gonna watch the
at
White
the
Sox
Mets.
feed. I will watch that White Sox feed every day.
Wow, you do that.
I'm not
gonna
even
watch
kidding.
the
This is perfect. Monday night, too. This is
best in
perfect.
baseball.
Yeah.
Oof. So, I mean, 3 there, three at the Mets. Mets have been pretty hot.
Mets destroyed the Rockies all weekend.
Yeah. So hopefully they got their runs out of their system.
Well, here's the thing. The Mets are now slowing down those young starters. Matt Harvey, they didn't start today. They want to give him more time. It's going to happen with Syndergaard and DeGrom. So maybe the Sox miss 1 or 2.
That'd be nice.
I say that. The Rockies miss Harvey today. Logan Verrett threw a 3-hitter. So what the hell? What's the difference?
Oh, the immortal Logan Verrett. Wow.
But at least it wasn't Matt Harvey. Mm-hmm. And you might see Bartolo Colon. And any opportunity to see Bartolo Colon is like seeing an endangered species in the wild. You're not sure how it's still there or if you're really seeing what you're seeing, but you just drink it in.
You know how fond I am of the men that the ample of belly.
You don't have to tell me.
Bartolo, keep doing it, buddy.
I don't trust people who don't like Bartolo Colon. It's physically impossible not to like the guy right now.
Nah, I don't
He's
trust
65.
people that don't like food. Yeah.
He's 65. He's throwing like a 25-year-old. His arm will never die. He's going to start 10 more seasons.
Yeah.
He's
Be
gonna
good to see
throw
old friend
opening day
Bartolo.
on Montreal's next team when they come as an expansion team 4 years from now.
Yeah. Oh, before we go, I also wanted to
Okay.
get off that topic, but to give a shout out to Red Sox fans. Jimmy Fund Telethon this week. They raised over $3 million for the Dana-Farber Research Center, and
Pretty
that's a
timely.
great cause and just well done. Isn't that odd?
Yeah.
Isn't that odd? Funny the way that things work. I think that's gonna do it, Bobby. You got any parting words?
I'm just looking through the stats right now. Sox are 8-6 interleague, so maybe that's a good.
Hey, man.
Good sign for
the
the
winners
Mets.
of 6 out of the last 9. So we're hot right now. We are hot. Hey, let's keep it going on the road. Let's have a 3-3 week, and so we can be talking about another good week next week. But Where can people find you on the Twitter, Bobby?
I'm on Twitter at Bobby DeMuro. Mike will be here with us exactly 1 hour from now doing Dodgers Wrap 360.
Is that true? You going to tease it? I mean,
absolutely. You're going to be here in an hour.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about a winning team that went 0-5 this week, but whatever.
It's true. That's true. Well, anyways, you can catch us here every Sunday at 7:05 Eastern Time on Red Sox Wrap 360. Free Tom Brady. Go Sox.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.